Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's DealerOn webinar, the DealerOn Academy Q4 Automotive Marketing Briefing. My name is Amirrezvani, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. For anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our amazing SEO, the best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the award-winning chameleon responsive website platform. We're so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that DealerOn is still the only company in the industry that offers a money-back lead guarantee program. Does your website company guarantee you a 50% lift in leads or your money back? Maybe you should check us out at our gorgeous brand new DealerOn website at DealerOn.com. Also want to let you know that Shaun and Greg Gifford will both be presenting at the upcoming Driving Sales Executive Summit. So if you're going to be there, got to stop by, check them out, and say hi. We hope you're going to be there. Can't wait to see you there. That's actually the next slide. There we go. That's right, and it's going to be in Vegas, baby. So if you're going to be there, make sure to stop by and say hi. We have a great show in store for you today, and we're very pleased to have members of the DealerOn Executive Team here today to speak to us about current automotive marketing updates, industry perspectives, and best practices. This webinar will be packed with great information and is designed to be a fully interactive exchange with all the time dedicated to your questions. Today's members of the DealerOn leadership team that are here are Chris Deringer, who's the Chief Marketing Officer for DealerOn and is responsible for leading DealerOn's marketing and operational functions. Shaun, the Vice President of Business Development for DealerOn, and you know what? He also helps market our clients' capabilities, extending their reach and building the right reputation. And, of course, Greg Gifford, our Director of Search and Social, who's responsible for our comprehensive digital strategies that get dealers noticed online. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, we're going to try to respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for reference, and please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. Guys, this isn't funny. Put the screen back up. Come on, put the slides back up. Where are your slides?
There's the video over here. Technical difficulties.
Okay. We're just going to run with this until we get the slides back up then, I hope. All right, here we go. Hey, and guess what? We got a great prize today on the webinar. Our good friends at AutoHook are sponsoring this week's webinar giveaway. AutoHook is a showroom traffic driver, and they have built the ultimate attribution engine, which tracks that customer through the lead, showroom visit, and purchase, and then delivers a cost per sale that's best in the industry. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a $250 e-gift card from AutoHook. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though, so stay tuned, and you could be the one walking away with this amazing prize today. And by the way, for more information about AutoHook, you can visit driveautohook.com. Also, at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to get a short survey. So please fill it out because we're always looking for quality feedback from our audience. Today, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys. So also... Oh my gosh, what is going on, guys? I'm not used to seeing my face this big on the screen. Anyway, let your opinion be heard and fill out that survey for us. And hey, by the way, do you tweet much? We hope you do. We'd love to see what you have to say about today's presentation. So please tag us in it. You can use hashtag DealerOnWebby. I'm at Amirrezvani. You can also have Chris Deringer at DealerOn. Shaun is at Shaun. And you got it, Greg Gifford. At Greg Gifford. We look forward to seeing what you're saying. So let's get started with the DealerOn Academy Q4 Automotive Marketing Briefing. Hey guys, what's going on, dudes?
We're trying to make sure that the video stuff is actually working right, and I think when we try to make it work right, it doesn't actually put slides on the screen, it replaces it with the video.
Huh. Yeah, you're not showing your... You're not showing your screen right now, which is weird.
Not showing the screen? Oh, maybe you have to
You
do that.
are showing your webcam, but you're not showing your screen.
How about now?
There it is. There it is.
I'll move that up.
Oh, go forward a couple slides. No, I'm seeing your screen now.
Okay.
Hey, Eliana, this is Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, while we're working on any of the technical difficulties that might be going on, I did want to sort of give everybody a heads up on some of the things that have been going on with DealerOn over the last quarter. So as Shaun and Greg can attest, we have had two fantastic events at Topgolf locations in Virginia, and just yesterday in Dallas. We have two that may be coming to a location near you. November 2nd, we're going to be doing a Topgolf event with Google. Greg and Shaun will both be speaking there. It's going to be in Tampa. Again, that's November 2nd. And we're going to be coming to Phoenix in December. I believe it's the second week in December. So look out for the invites that we're going to be sending out. Yes, sir, Greg.
It's on the 7th.
On the 7th
of December.
In December in Phoenix. A couple other things. We hopefully everybody saw the press release. DealerOn became an official Google Premier Partner in Q3, and obviously we're very excited about that. Some of the additional support, some of the beta programs that our dealers are eligible for. Please reach out to us if you're either a DealerOn website customer and you would like to get the full benefit of our platform with our paid search, or if you're not on our platform yet, but you'd still like to get the benefit of our Premier Partnership program, please reach out to us. The other notable thing is that we officially became members of 3 different OEM programs: Acura, Mercedes-Benz, and the Toyota Digital Fixed Operations Program. So if any of those are relevant for your dealership, again, please reach out to a DealerOn person. Probably Shaun would be an ideal person on this webcast, and we can get you all the information you would need to take advantage of those programs.
Wait, you said Acura, Mercedes?
Acura, Mercedes-Benz, and Toyota is doing a digital fixed operations program, and we are one of 5 or 6 AdWords providers that you can get some of your spend co-opt, and you can test out and see how well your fixed operations campaigns can drive ROs into your service department by working with DealerOn. It's a close partnership between DealerOn, Toyota, and Google.
I love it. That's amazing news. Wow, Chris, you come up with all the good news. Thank you so much. All right. Audience, we're looking for your questions, so send those questions in. We already have a few in, and we're looking for some more. So send those questions in. We got a couple more things to discuss real fast. Now, as you heard, and as I've been promoting for the last few weeks, Topgolf was yesterday, and we have a couple more coming up in the very near future. So before we get through to those questions, I just want to take a couple minutes and ask all the guys, how was Topgolf yesterday? What did we learn? How was it? And what can people expect if they are lucky enough to attend one of those future ones in the next few weeks?
It went really well. So Chris just told you guys that this is the second one that we've done, and a bit of history on this. DealerOn has tried actually for years to kind of find a sweet spot with regional-based learning events where it's not just a self-promotional, hey, DealerOn's awesome type of event. And we've done that by co-sponsoring with lots of other, friendly vendors in the business, but we've just never really found the sweet spot. And I think it was Amir of the brothers, the founders, that had the idea we should do some stuff with Top. Was it Amir's idea? I think it was.
I don't know whose idea it was.
Anyway, it was a good idea. It was a really great idea. So Topgolf, if you don't know what Topgolf is these giant, structures that have a bunch of bays, typically 3 stories, and a huge netted area where there's different targets out, where you basically get to golf and you score points. It's kind of almost like shooting darts, but you're basically hitting golf balls into different targets. But they also have great catering and they have great event services. So we ended up finding out that not only do they have a great meeting space, but it's a great environment for dealers to come out in one day, let us give you breakfast and lunch, and then after about 5 amazing presentations where we've had Google, the first 2, and eLead was also here, and in BC, where you're just going to get great content until just in the late afternoon, and then we turn everybody loose for golf. And, you know, if you want, like yesterday, I think some people probably wanted water and sweet tea as much as they wanted a beer. It was kind of hot. But it's just turned out to be a really great way to have you should ask Brad. Brad was there yesterday. A lot of great feedback. But the idea is let's pack 5 really, really impactful, fun presentations together, but in one day's time, so we don't ask dealers to overcommit. So it went really, really well. It was fantastic. And the last thing I'll say about it, because yesterday was a little different than DC in that eLead actually, one of their charities that they give to is called Patriot Paws. And I just think this is a good idea on the webinar to anybody that's listening. Go and look up that charity, patriotpaws.org. It's Paws, P-A-W-S. They actually came out and brought a few service dogs, and they are a company that basically fully trained service dogs for veterans that are struggling with PTSD, or if they have combat injuries, amputees, any type of service that they may need to have a service dog for. Well, this organization trains those dogs and then gives them to these veterans free of charge. But it costs a lot of money to train the dogs. And then, Eliana, as I was telling you about this earlier, they also have a really cool thing that I did a little more research on them last night just because I was so impressed with them. They also work with the Texas Department of Corrections in 2 of the women-only prisons in Texas, and they go and give these women who are trying to figure out, you know, how to make some better decisions and need a second chance. They're using these women in the prison system in Texas, teaching them how to train dogs, giving them a sense of purpose. Anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out. I think it's a fantastic charity that eLead's involved with, and it was an awesome way to actually introduce our dealers in the Dallas area to something good that's going on. It's just sometimes heartwarming to know that we're not just trying to, you know, solve the world's problems through SEO and SEM and better websites. We're trying to do good by people, so it's really cool. Yeah, it's awesome. I was watching a YouTube video on it last night and just shedding a tear at my computer because it was just, you know, it's one of those things that makes you feel good amidst all the other garbage that's on the internet these days. It was pretty good story.
Well, as a Navy veteran who served during the Gulf War and someone who loves dogs as well, that's such a great charity, and I'm so glad we were able to work that into the Topgolf event. And that was eLeads who brought that charity in?
Yeah, that's a big charity that they have been giving to, and they're big supporters of. So total credit to them for even bringing it to our awareness and bringing it to the event for the awareness of everybody that was there. Yeah, definitely not. DealerOn can't take credit for that. That was something eLead's involved with, and they wanted to highlight them. And they're a Texas-based charity, so they're not too far from where we were, and they were willing to come down and bring a couple of their new puppies in training, and it was really, really cool.
I bet the veterans are going to very much appreciate that. All right, we're going to get to a few of these questions now. Gentlemen, are you ready? You're up. All right. First question comes in from Joe. Joe says, has anything changed on Google in the past quarter? I know we all want to know that.
Certainly, yeah, some things have changed. And I don't know, Chris, do you want to speak to it? I know, but there's some definite changes within the AdWords platform, expanded text ads. Back in May, Google did their big innovation, whatever they call it. It's a big, you know, they have a big video thing, and they talk about what's coming up. And there's a lot of things happening with the AdWords platform. Probably the most significant changes to the AdWords platform since AdWords even came out. Some things like expanded text ads, the ability to do some bid modification by device type, and some of these things are still in beta, but certainly a lot of exciting things there. I know, you know, Chris gets to work really very closely with Google and our partnership there inside. Chris, do you want to expand on some of that? But there are some really cool changes within AdWords.
Yeah, absolutely, Shaun. So like Shaun was saying, the expanded text ads are huge. Google had originally, I think, targeted a date where you had to be live with expanded text ads by October. They, I guess, some of their beta testing is taking a little bit longer than they anticipated. So now your agency or your dealership, if you guys handle it yourselves, you need to have all of your text ads converted over by the end of January in 2017. But I would encourage you to either do it yourself or get with your agency, because we've seen about a 30% increase in click-through rate for the expanded text ads that we've been running. We are in the process of getting every one of our clients up on all of our accounts and all of their campaigns onto the expanded text ads. So if you're a DealerOn client and you're not sure whether all of your ads have been migrated over, or you want to understand the impact, please make sure and talk to your account strategist this month. If you're not, you'd like to learn a little bit more about it, of course, reach out to somebody from DealerOn. Another thing that Google has done is their dynamic display ads, where before you had to submit an ad size for each of the different formats and sizes for Google's display network. Now you can simply submit one and it'll automatically adjust to the other sizes, which is great for most dealers and most agencies, because it doesn't give you it doesn't require that you put a whole lot of time and effort into building them. The one problem is mobile apps are a place where Google does a lot of their GDN inventory. They run a lot of it in apps, and your ad may become qualified for mobile apps now. And so if you're not careful, you may inadvertently start spending a lot of money advertising on apps, which have a click-through, a bounce rate of about 99.5% if they click through from the app to your website. So you want to make sure that if you are doing the dynamic display ads, that you're not inadvertently now advertising in mobile apps, which could become a problem for you. And then the one final thing that they have done is they've expanded their RLSA ads, their remarketing lists for search advertisements. So if someone comes to your dealership site and you've got your site coded properly, they go back to Google later and they're doing further research, you can automatically target them using RLSA ads. One additional feature that Google is now providing is that when you do set that up, you can now reach people who've come to your site on a mobile device and then are searching from their desktop site. So that, again, gives you more reach for your RLSA ads. So those are the things that that I've seen that Google's doing this quarter. Shaun, do you have anything else?
I don't think so. We're trying to see if we can get you to laugh. I actually had some Google updates. If you watch, if you guys go watch our Wednesday workshop from last week, we put up a video and I talked about the 2 Google updates that happened in September. There was the 4.0 rollout for the Penguin algorithm, which is Google's link spam algorithm. In the past, it was rolled out in iterations. This is the first update it's had in 2 years. But now Google has baked it into the algorithm, so it's a real-time update. So if you do happen to get a link penalty, you'll probably be able to get out of it much more quickly. We also had what's been called the Possum update. It's not something that Google officially named. It was named by the community, and whoever named it wasn't very creative.
Doesn't like possums that much.
Possum update had to do with some local search stuff. So now if you're in an area that's just outside of the city, you're having a little bit better chance of showing up in searches for that city. It also had an effect on how results are filtered within the map pack and local finder pages. But there's a video up about that as well.
Okay, and can you tell everyone where they can find that Wednesday workshop video?
On our blog at DealerOn.com/blog.
Love it. All right. I want to put out there that some people wrote in comments, like David. He said, Greg and Shaun are crazy. Yep. Okay, next question comes in from Tony. Tony says, what can I do to better measure or track my paid search performance? Who would like to take this one?
I can speak to that, and I actually wanted to piggyback on a little something that Chris was talking about with burning through budget or wasting money on Google's dynamic display ads within the app network. Yesterday, and it's one of the things that I talk about quite a bit in my PPC presentations, it's similar to when you're setting up AdWords if you leave search partners turned on when you're really just trying to get paid search performance with text ads. It's similar to setting up campaigns in AdWords when you're running text ads in both the search and display networks. If you really, really don't understand those kind of settings within AdWords, you will actually spend more money than you should be, and you will waste a bunch of it. So there are now more than just a couple of areas. There are a few areas within your AdWords settings that you really have to be mindful of so that you don't waste money. Because Google, I mean, it's not their fault. They don't care. They're trying to make their platform as user-friendly as possible. But for dealers, you want to get really laser-focused on campaign settings. You certainly don't want to burn budget in the app network or the display network or the search partner network if you don't need to. As far as better measurement, our recommendation has kind of always been this way from the beginning, which is you want to measure your leads plus calls, so form submissions. That kind of equals your acquisitions by keyword, by campaign, city. This way you can basically optimize your bids by what's really getting people into the dealership. So you kind of have to know, how your campaigns are set up the right way, how you're targeting your ads. We have the ability to do, we call it kind of a matchback or track to sale when we work with dealers in their DMS system. This is something that we can do for our DealerOn clients that are on our websites. The integration there is obviously makes this possible. But then we can find out which leads or phone calls are delivering sales for dealers. So that's definitely a better way to measure and track your paid search performance. Getting direct access to AdWords so that you can see basically all of the details that are relevant to your dealership is really important for tracking. And it almost seems criminal that we still even talk about it. It came up yesterday at a Topgolf event where if you don't have AdWords access, you're blind to all of those kind of details that help you better track and measure what's going on. And it's a little self-promotional, but once again, I'll tell you, DealerOn provides, Greg's team does it on the organic side, and Orco's team does it on the paid search side. We'll do a free audit for your dealership. As long as we can get AdWords access, that's the critical part on the paid search side. But it will tell you a lot if your vendor says that they won't grant that access. And yesterday we asked Jessie from Google if they have to provide that access, and she said they don't. It's recommended, but they don't have to. I thought that was a change because I know in the past, if you were actually managing AdWords on behalf of another business and they asked for access, you were required to give it to them. We do give that. So tracking and measurement, if you don't have access there, there's already a problem. So anyway, those are a few ways that we definitely would encourage you to be able to measure and track better with paid search.
I appreciate that. And since you brought up this very sensitive topic, we actually have a poll question that goes along right with it. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to jump right into our first poll question of the day. And it's on your screen now. Attendees, we want to know, does your ad agency provide your dealership AdWords access to your account? Please select one of the following answers. Is it yes and it's working out great for us? Yes, but it could be more efficient. Not yet, but we're going to ask them to. No, but you know what? They really should, or I have no idea. Once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results. So what we want to know is, does your ad agency provide your dealership AdWords access to your account? And while we're waiting for those votes to come in, we did have a question that came in from Brad for Greg. Brad would like to know, when is the DealerOn Comic-Con event? So just I put that out there for you. Are you planning one that I don't know about, Greg? Because if I'm not, I don't think you guys realize I'm a geek.
If I could make that work for next summer, that would be pretty much the coolest thing ever.
What?
I said if I can make that work for next summer, that'd be pretty much the coolest thing ever.
Ever. Okay, Brad, we're working on it. All right, give us a few months. All right, now that we have that taken care of, real fast, we'll give you another couple seconds to get your votes in. Does your ad agency provide your dealership AdWords access to your account? Let's close this poll and share the results. Gentlemen, wait till you see these answers. Okay, 23% of today's audience said yes, works out great for us. 31% of today's audience says yes, but it could be more efficient. 23% of today's audience said no, and they really should, and another 23% said they have no idea. Gentlemen, do you have any comment on that?
It sounds about right. I mean, that's kind of.
So you think about half of dealerships out there aren't getting access to their Google AdWords?
Yeah, it may be more than that. I mean, this is this little sample size from the DealerOn webinar series, but in reality, there's an unfortunate large percentage of dealers that don't get to have access to AdWords. We, just in the spirit of being very candid, we have a lot of dealers that ask us to do SEM audits, and then we give them the requirements of how we get AdWords access. And then they find out that they can't get it and are disappointed that we can't actually perform the audit for them. So there's a very limited amount of insight that we can get even from just looking at Google Analytics. So yeah, we run into that several times a month. We have dealers that say, yeah, we tried, but our vendor won't give us AdWords access. That typically
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if somebody wanted to have an SEM audit, and it's free and it's no obligation, is that correct?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay, so if somebody who's listening today wanted to know more about this SEM audit, where would they go? Who would they contact?
Well, there's a couple of different ways that you can. If you want, because I'm on the webinar in front of you two right now, they could send me an email, SHAUN, at DealerOn.com, and I can take care of that. If they prefer to go on to any of our Wednesday workshop videos that they can find at DealerOn.com/blog, there they'll find all the Wednesday workshops that Greg and I shoot. They'll also find articles from various staff members from Orco, who is director of all the operations on that side. Chris Deringer, who's on the call, our CMO, contributes content there. So that's another easy way to fill out a form there and request the SEM audit. And we have a bunch of, actually, what's the new bit.ly link that I did? It's bit.ly/ppc-vids, V-I-D-S. I've been putting that link. I should have put it in here, Deliana, my bad. But if you know what a bit.ly link is, bit.ly/ppc-vids, ppc-vids. I've started to take all of the paid search related Wednesday workshop videos and drop their links into a Google Doc. So if you go to that bit.ly link, it'll take you to a Google Doc, and it'll have all the links to the PPC related videos. Greg and I, when we speak, and he more so than me, but between the two of us, we cover a lot of, there you go, innovative.
I put it in the chat feature, but okay, that works too.
Innovative. So he and I both are trying to make it as easy as possible to get all of that information. So if you go there, you can also fill out the form on any one of those videos and request the PPC audit too. Same thing with his SEO team for organic audits too.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. All right. David wrote in. Now that was high tech. All right. But David did have a question for you also. He says, sorry, this is a long question. And we're not trying to call out anyone, but this is an actual question, and he's voicing his concerns. All right. So David writes, we're with VIN Solutions, and we have a responsive site through VIN. And as you know, the Auto Trader conglomerate has now acquired Dealer.com, and they're switching all of their websites to that platform, which is not responsive. Now, I read DDC's info about their sites, and they say that theirs is superior to responsive sites, but I cry BS on that. What are your thoughts?
I cry BS too. Oh, well, too. Yeah, so Thank you for putting the big stick in the pot and now wanting us all to put our hands on it and stir it. Geez. I don't know if any of you guys want to hit as well. I just listen. So I recently did the Acura Roadshow, right? So several vendors are in that program. It used to be just Dealer.com sites, and of course we've been competing against them for a long time. And I think, like a lot of companies we compete with, there are a lot of companies that do a lot of good things. It's not all bad. But let me just also state this. This is my opinion. So if there are any trolls or people that like to sit on our webinar series to find out if any of us are like jerks and always just popping off and saying bad things about other people, that's not us. We don't start fights. I finished them, but I didn't start them. But I'll tell you this, when it comes to Dealer.com, their initiatives and their priorities are very transparent. We've all seen what they've wanted to do with online retailing, and they've had really big initiatives as they've continued to grow, and their acquisition strategy has definitely made them a big conglomerate. Yeah, there you go. So my opinion of that is also, it's not difficult for any of us in the industry to see what they've been doing and what's been strategically really important for them. What hasn't been really important for them is to change their website platform to be responsive. I'm not really sure how we would, if it were us, if we had other initiatives and we hadn't gone responsive. I'm not sure how we would get around saying, yeah, well, Google recommends it, but we think that's just a bad decision. That's a bad idea. I'm not sure, like if Mike DeVito, he's traveling today, if he was on the call, I'm sure that he would speak to things like, user agent detection and some of the technical components relative to being somewhat adaptive and not responsive, and how that's really not the best way to go. I'm sure he would talk about how their mobile infrastructure and what they end up providing in a mobile experience in comparison to what he has built for DealerOn and our platform, that those are not optimal. So there are definitely some things to me that I would question, why you would say that you're better than responsive. I've heard them say some of these things as I've listened to their presentations, and they don't make sense to me. To me, it just sounds like, we're going to get around to it. And I think that's what will happen when they get to their place on the roadmap where, okay, finally we're responsive, they'll come around. Because there is no good argument for them to remain on a non-responsive platform. There isn't. I get it. They've had a lot of other big initiatives going on, but now they're having to be, I think, a little bit more defensive in why they're still in that realm. What are we saying here? Google's had a comparison. Of course it does. Yeah,
that
Google recommends.
Yeah.
Yep.
So why do something else? All right. So I know we have a great relationship with Google, obviously. So I just want to make sure Google did say that responsive is the way to go, and anything else would be not optimal. Correct? They haven't changed their stance on that.
And there's plenty of material that Google has put out about the benefits of responsive versus the alternatives. So, you only takes you probably 15 to 20 minutes to research Google versus adaptive and find all of the other reasons to go with responsive. So you don't have to take our word for it. There's great research out there.
All right, thank you very much. And David, by the way, wrote back and he says, thank you for your opinion, Shaun. So thank you for that. All right, next question comes in from Christy. Christy says, Greg, do we like the possum update, and do we still like beacons?
The possum update hasn't, and I'm blowing my hole. I'm only using sticky notes now. Thanks, Christy. The possum update, I kind of don't really care about too much. It's not going to have an effect on most dealerships. The only time it might actually affect the dealership is if you have multiple brands and multiple rooftops that are all using the same address. You might potentially get filtered a little bit. But really, really, it's not something that's going to affect most dealers, so don't really care. What was the question? Part two of the question?
Do you still like beacons?
Do you still like
I
beacons?
still love beacons, but unfortunately, the provider that we were using for beacons decided they weren't going to sell beacons anymore, so we are exploring other opportunities to be able to sell beacons, but they're still amazing. I'm actually speaking, PubCon is a really large SEO conference, and that's in Vegas next week, and I'm speaking on a panel about beacons on Thursday of next week.
You're speaking on beacons?
Yeah.
Of course you are. Okay, Brad says it should have been named Platypus. I don't know.
Right, it should have been. Thank you.
Why would Platypus have been a better name?
Because then every time we ever talk about it, we can use the Perry the Platypus sound.
Yes, AJ. I have that in here.
I don't think everyone knows who Perry the Platypus is, although I do.
Oh, well, Platypus.
You're about to.
Oh,
Oh,
all
yeah.
right. Show us all Perry the Platypus. Chris, do you know who Perry the Platypus is?
No idea.
That, my friends. He's a secret
This.
agent, obviously.
This is Perry the Platypus. Disney's show Phineas and Ferb.
And this is what he sounds like.
Yeah, there you go.
That's about it.
So, you're
He's
right.
very cool, by the way. He can do anything.
That's right.
All
Yeah,
right.
so there you go. Platypus.
Okay, with that, we are going to go to our second poll question. And audience, I'm going to urge you to send in all of your questions because we're going to be wrapping up the show pretty darn soon, okay? So let's launch our second poll question. It is on the screen now. We want to know, do you have access to your Google search console to see whether or not your site has been penalized by Google? Please select one of the following answers. Yes, we use it all the time. Yes, but we admit we hardly ever check it. No, but it's something we plan on doing. No, we wouldn't know how to use it and we probably never check it. Or, you know what? That kind of sounds important. Is that important? Sounds important. All right, so we want to know, do you have access to your Google Search Console to see whether or not your site has been penalized by Google? Once we get majority of the votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results. And yes, a comment came in and said, the knowledge never ceases on the DealerOn webinars. That's what we're here for, babes. All right, here we go. Votes are coming in fast, and like I said, any last-minute questions you want to get in, we're going to give away a prize, and then we're going to close out this show. So get those questions in as soon as you can, okay? All right, now let's close this poll and share the results. Are you ready, gentlemen?
Ready? Yes. Do it.
Okay. So demanding. All right, here we go. 50% of today's audience, half, said yes, and we use it all the time. 17% of today's audience said yes, but we hardly ever check it. 17% said no, but it's something we plan on implementing. 8% said no, we wouldn't know how to use it, we'd probably never check it either. And another 8% said, gosh, that sounds kind of important. Is that important? So before we go further, hey, is it important to have access to your Google Search Console?
It's ridiculously important.
Why is it important?
Because it's full of really helpful information, and if you happen to get a manual penalty, that's the only way you're going to know if you get the manual penalty. So it would be really important for your dealership to have access to it.
When you get the penalty, let's say you do something wrong and they flag you, right? When you get the penalty, does it also help you in resolving the penalty, getting not penalized later? Does it tell you what you did wrong?
Well, a great example of this is a bunch of Toyota dealers just got hit with a manual spam penalty about 2 weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago today. And for those dealers, unless they're paying really close attention to their Google Analytics to see that their traffic just bombed on that day, they're only really going to know if they get that message inside of Search Console, and that message simply says, hey, you have been assessed a manual penalty for spam or thin content because your site does not adhere to Google's Webmaster Guidelines. That's all you get. So hopefully you know someone like me that you can call and say, hey, look, I just got this. What does it mean? Unfortunately, we've talked to several dealers, a pretty good chunk of dealers that are using a pretty major SEO provider in the automotive industry that's not us, and their provider is pretty clueless about how to get them out of it. So at this point, we've got a pretty big chunk of Toyota dealers that haven't shown up in search results for 2 weeks. So kind of important to stay on top of that so you know if you get penalized or, and it may not even be your fault. It could be the person that's doing your SEO that's writing the content on the site that could screw you over without realizing they did it. So it's really, really important that you have access to your Search Console.
Okay, so Andy did write in, and you kind of answered the question, but I'm going to read it anyway. Andy wrote in, I heard from somebody that our Toyota dealer got penalized by Google. Do you guys know what was up with that? What was going on?
Yeah, so we went through, we're actually working with Toyota Corporate to help them kind of suss out what happened and figure out a way to get the dealers to recover. But we went through and looked, and unfortunately the message doesn't tell you exactly what it is that you got penalized for, but it does tell you what kind of penalty you have. So if you've got someone on deck that understands that sort of stuff, they can look through your site and pretty easily figure out what the erroneous pages are. And from looking at several of the sites, it was pretty easy for us to figure out this was actually something called a doorway page. And a doorway page is something that Google determines is a page that you're putting up purely for SEO. It's not really there for a person. And it's a pretty spammy page that's meant to show up in searches. And then once it shows up in searches, it's meant to push people to another page on your website. So we saw a great example, a dealership that was in South Texas, and it was like Toyota Highlander in Corpus Christi was the page, but there was no inventory listed on the page, and it was just a couple of paragraphs of text, maybe 8 or 9 sentences in total, and it said Toyota Highlander Corpus Christi 36 times. So it was really bad.
So they got flagged.
You watch out. You don't want to have these, and we as part of our SEO strategy, we put up what we call model research pages, which is a page about, the Toyota Highlander or the F-150 or whatnot. But at the bottom of the page, after we've got all the really useful, unique info, we then have a list of the inventory of that type of vehicle. So if you've got pages up like that if you read it out loud and it sounds really odd and then there's no inventory on the page either, then you're probably risking a penalty. And this only happened to Toyota dealers, and it didn't happen to all Toyota dealers. It was just the ones that kind of fit the footprint of having a lot of these spammy doorway pages. But now that Google has seen them, Google's going to be watching them a lot more closely, and I would say it's incredibly likely they're probably going to hit other manufacturers as well. So you guys should definitely take a look at your website and all the pages on your site, and even look through your back end and check pages that aren't necessarily listed on your main menu, and look for these really cruddy pages and either delete them or make sure that your agency rewrites them and makes them better.
Okay, Sharpie has a follow-up question on the same subject. He said, did this affect all Toyota dealers or just the ones that used this unnamed SEO provider?
It's not just one SEO provider, it's actually several, and it actually looked like it hit one region pretty hard, so it could be a tactic that maybe the region pushed out. I don't have enough information. I only know the ones that we found. Toyota Corporate has a lot better handle on how many dealers it was, but it's a small number of dealers overall. It's not like it hit every dealer. I wouldn't even want to guess on the total number or the percentage, but I do know it's a small number. But still, for those dealers that got hit, at this point, it's been 2 weeks that they're not showing up in Google. Even if you search the dealership name, they're not even showing up. So that's obviously really bad for your dealership.
Holy moly, they really got slammed. Okay. All right, audience, you heard it here. Make sure you go fix that. Holy moly. All right, next question. It doesn't really have a name, just says ADF. So ADF writes in, our agency doesn't give us access to our AdWords account, although we do see detailed reporting because they say their strategies are proprietary to their agency. Is it standard for agencies not to share their AdWords accounts with other agencies or turn them over if they stop working with the dealer?
I'm guessing your agency sends you a report that's a PDF document or a PowerPoint presentation with basically how they want to report on your metrics. That's very common with agencies. And as much as I want to say that I think that, yeah, they're just wanting to take all that fantastic data directly from AdWords and analytics and then make it prettier for you and easier to digest. That's not usually the case. It's like partial. It's like telling 80% of the truth and leaving 20% out, with that 20% being really critical. So it's common, I don't know if that's the whole question, it's common for agencies to offer that type of reporting. It is common for agencies not to want to share actual AdWords or analytics access or visibility to other agencies, and then sometimes even their own customers. And usually that starts in the very beginning of a relationship with an agency. They know that most dealers want things very, very simplified. And they want things to be visually not just appealing, but easy to understand. And so that's kind of where all that was born from. The problem is that all of you guys are getting smarter and smarter and smarter, and you're realizing that the only way to know really what story is being told and how to change it or manipulate it or measure it or track it or make it better is for you to actually see the source data itself, even if you need an interpreter to help you understand it, like this guy. Me or Chris Deringer is an analytics guru.
Yes.
It's super important that you do have access there, and agencies aren't the only ones. Sometimes it's vendors that don't want you to be able to see that, because that's where you can hide bits of truth that would be alarming.
I find it very disconcerting because, as an industry, we all know that in order to get customers to trust you, you have to have some level of transparency. And I just don't understand why these ad agencies think that they are going to secure our loyalty if they don't have transparency with us as well. So let's say we have an ad agency who's taking care of a dealership who's not transparent. What are you recommending to that dealership?
Call him, switch to him.
I want to be nice and polite, but if I'm going to be really candid, I would say you probably should be looking for easy ways to exit. It comes down to almost the most important thing to you is this data, right? The data that Greg and his team look at from an organic perspective is extremely valuable. On the paid search side, that's typically a lot of money that's being invested. If your digital advertising strategy isn't just with text ads and AdWords, but you're also running display ads and you're investing in remarketing and maybe you're doing some pre-roll within YouTube, those budgets get really, really big, really, really fast. And if you don't actually get to see what's really going on there, it's like that data is being held hostage by someone else. And that's not right. It's like a custody battle over what belongs to you that you're paying for.
It's a lot of money. Dealerships are spending a lot of money on this, right?
Absolutely, they're spending. And if you're not, you should be. All the stuff that Greg and I talk about all the time, we're the ones that are always saying, like, it's the tip of your spear, right, for digital marketing, and making sure that your organic and paid search strategies have top priority. Why do we always say that? It's because it represents the most significant amount of leads that you can generate. It's the fastest way to get in front of people on the paid side, but it's also the most effective in terms of lead generation. That's search in general, and it doesn't happen for free. So if I were a dealer and I wasn't able to get access to that information and somebody was holding that hostage, it wouldn't make me mad. It would piss me off. I would be so angry about it because of what's at stake. It's just,
so the argument that it's proprietary, are you calling BS on that, or is that a valid argument?
I call BS on it because that's what all of them have said forever and all the time. And I know too many of these companies, and I've been in this too long. I'm not Luke Skywalker, I'm Yoda, right? So it's not like I just started trying to figure out how to, hold a lightsaber. I know why these companies say what they say, and we have a proprietary software. Oh, fantastic, right? And it's a piece of stuff.
What? Sugar? Piece of sugar?
Trying to clean it up a little bit. It's easy to say that because then most dealers will stand down. Okay, I get it. Yeah, you guys built something really magical and cool, so we can't see all of the cool things in the chocolate factory because it's your thing, Willie. Okay, most people will stand down and they won't ask about it. But the truth of the matter is, am I wrong? truth is that it's just a way to get somebody to back off and say, just take the reports that we're sending you. You don't need that access. You won't understand it anyway. And we've got some like secret stuff, patents pending. I've heard all kinds of stuff that like we can't share that. Okay, well, great. Well, somebody else will share that, and that's what I want. And if that's what you want, then make the switch. Rip off the Band-Aid and move to somebody that will give you that access. Hold them accountable. That's it. Transparency is an abused word. Just like tolerance is an abused word. We've made up our own version of what we want it to be. And that's very much the truth in the auto industry. People have come up with their own definition of transparency.
Thank you for your candid response. I appreciate it, Shaun. All right. ADF says thank you as well. All right. Last question comes in for Greg. It's from Elmer. And Elmer says, I have 2 stores. Greg, how do I set up a Google My Business page? That's all the information you get.
2 stores at the same location, I'm guessing. Can he clarify a little bit?
Elmer?
I mean, it's you set up different listings.
He says 2 different locations.
Oh, well, then you just set up one for each location. They're completely separate. You set up a listing for each location. Totally easy. And they're both connected to your account, so when you log into your account, you'll just log in and you'll see each of the 2, and you just click on whichever one you want to go to. It's super easy.
If they've never done it before and they're like, you know, I'm not even comfortable with the internet. If they emailed you, would you like?
Yeah, I mean,
even give them a little more hand-holding?
Yeah, I mean, I could walk you through it, but it's incredibly simple. You just go in and claim your location off the maps, and you'll get a postcard. You put the number into the postcard, and boom, you've got it.
Okay.
We sometimes oversimplify things, but we always want people to know that it's a friendly beard, and it's friendly hair, and we want to help you. So if there's something that we talk about and it seems like, man, that's just easy peasy, and you're like, it doesn't feel that way to me, or sound that way, just reach out to us. And especially him on Twitter. He's a Twitter, like, master.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter all the time.
He gets very upset if he doesn't win, like, a Twitter contest. Like, he's all, yes. Okay, well, Elmer wrote in, he says, okay, great, thanks. And with that, gentlemen, it's almost time to wrap up the show. Before we do, though, we got some cool, awesome we have some cool prizes to give away. Well, one cool prize. And so if you were, what happened? What now? What are you doing? Okay. I announced that our good friends over at AutoHook are sponsoring this week's DealerOn webinar giveaway. Now, just in case you haven't heard, AutoHook is a showroom traffic driver, and they've built the ultimate attribution engine, which tracks the customer through the lead, showroom visit, and purchase, and then delivers a cost per sale that's best in the industry. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a $250 e-gift card from AutoHook. So all you have to do is get your keyboards. First person to write in the correct response is going to be winning this awesome prize today. If you are a vendor, we love having you on our show. Always. You are always welcome on a DealerOn webinar. Every time, every day, always. However, this prize is intended for dealership personnel only. We're going to ask you to please sit this out and let a dealership person win this prize, okay? Here we go. Good luck, everyone. And no, you have not heard this spoken on the show today, so you might have to Google it, or hey, you can guess. Guess as many times as you want until we get a winner. Here we go. Good luck, everyone. According to a recent Hitwise study in May of 2016, what percentage of automotive searches are on mobile? We're looking for a percentage. Ooh, someone was close, but no cigar. Close. Ooh, very close. Ooh, so close. Let's see if somebody gets this. No, keep going. Guess lower. Oh, somebody got it. Who is this? Who got this? Carolina. Congratulations, Carolina Shirley. You are the winner. You are the first person to write in. 62%. Congratulations, Carolina. You are a winner of a $250 e-gift card from AutoHook. And can I just tell you, What a great prize to win right before the holidays. Carolina Shirley, right on in. Let me know what dealership you're from so I can give you. Oh, look at you. Aren't you clever? McCarthy Morse Chevrolet. Carolina Shirley, congratulations. You are today's winner. Thank you, everyone, for playing along. I know we only had one prize today. Don't kill the messenger. But you know what? We give away cool prizes every week. So come on back to another Dealer On webinar. And who knows, that could be the day you win an awesome prize on a Dealer On webinar. For right now, though, we're going to say thank you, everyone, for playing along. Congratulations to Carolina Shirley on winning your $250 Auto Hook e-gift card prize. And of course, we've got to thank our good friends over at AutoHook for their incredible generosity. And to find out more about AutoHook, you can check out driveautohook.com. All right, Greg, Shaun, Chris, are you still there? No, he told me he had to leave early. Greg and Shaun, I'm going to give you an opportunity to say goodbye to the audience before I close out the show.
All right. See you guys. Thanks for being on. Go Rangers. Go Seahawks. Go DealerOn. And go you. Because you're good enough, you're smart enough, and doggone it, people like you.
Oh my gosh, I can't even. All right, here we go. We want to thank, of course, Chris and Greg and Shaun. Fantastic presentation. I want to remind the audience a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. Please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. Today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. Just go to dealeron.com/webinars, and from there you can view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars too. And hey, by the way, when this webinar closes in just a moment, you're going to get a short survey. Go to the next slide. Please fill out the survey. It's 6 short questions. We want to know what you think of today's presentation, so please fill out that survey. We'd greatly appreciate it. Also want to let you know that, yeah, Shaun Rains and Greg Gifford are going to be both presenting at the upcoming Driving Sales Executive Summit. So if you're going to be there, stop by, say hi, check out the awesomeness live. That's right. And hopefully we'll see you there. And invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next Dealer On webinar, where an expert from Google is going to show you how to reach the right customers in the right moments. In this age of ever-advancing technology and increased online connectivity, we're seeing a fundamental shift in the car shopper journey. And marketers, yeah, you should be worried. Research proves that the attention span of the average online consumer grows increasingly shorter, and they now take unscripted, nonlinear paths to purchase. Furthermore, brand loyalty is waning as shoppers become more loyal to their needs in the moment. And it's all because of those darn cell phones. Mobile has fractured the once predictable arc of an auto shopper's path to purchase into hundreds of real-time, intent-driven moments. Do you want to know how and when to reach online car shoppers? Of course you do. For such an important topic, we've called in an expert from Google to show all of us actually, the way to Nirvana. In this eye-opening 1-hour webinar, Nikki Walsh from Google will discuss this significant change in consumer behavior and all the best ways to connect with an online audience looking to buy a car. There are some moments when users are open to the right message from your brand and some wrong moments too. Only Google can help you tell the difference and then win them with the right digital marketing mix to reach more of the right people. This is an hour of automotive awesomeness you simply can't afford to miss. So if you're ready to hear an expert from Google discuss how to reach the right customers in the right moments, then make sure you see this presentation. Register now, and don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding our webinars and our topics, hey, contact us directly. You can find me. I'm all over the web. I'm on Google, Facebook, Twitter, or you know what? Just track me down online or email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all in another webinar in our continuing education series. Take care.